Um, what a surprise! Some fucking random mission. I was trying to to go away of Margaret. I ended up going back to Sumeru to condense some resin. And what do you encounter? Some random mission starting. Come on, serious suggestions, please. I'm not trying to write a thriller here. It's supposed to be an essay, you understand? An essay, that means facts and logic.
Well, if it's facts and logic you're after, you shot yourself in the foot with your choice of research topic, didn't you? The Tatara Suna mystery. When so much remains unexplained, there's little to be objective about. Unless, of course, you restrict yourself to textual criticism.
Yeah, well, this is my teacher's area of research. I can't change that. But it's fascinating enough without having to sensationalize it, don't you think? The strange location, the missing details, a mysterious person. I want to write my essay on something interesting, and I'm interested in getting to the bottom of all this. That's the only reason I came to you.
To be honest, I'm not interested in whatever dumb mission this triggers. I don't like that. I don't like when the update comes and Paimon tells you that, oh, we should check this out. But why if I want to stream every little detail, and I don't? I wanted to wait. Oh, dude, I have some medicine to take. Oh, my thing is hurting. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Yes, you came to me, so all the more reason to take my advice. The fact is, it's the dramatization that will make people want to read it. There's no getting around that.
Okay, but...
Did one of them just mention Tatara Suna? But that's all the way in Inazuma! Is it just Paimon, or is it kinda unusual for someone in Sumeru to want to write a paper about that? Everyone here's just going about their business. Maybe it really is just Paimon. Guess people here are free to research pretty much anything.
Still, let's go listen in.
Great! Let's go find out what this Tatara Suna mystery is all about.
No, I don't care. I didn't want to keep playing Genshin right today. But we are in this now. Inversion of Genesis.
Alright, I guess I'll go with my textual criticism and your editorial direction for the first draft. I have a feeling that the missing Kabuki Mono will end up being the main focus of this paper. If only we knew where to find that traveler. From what they say about her, this seems like the kind of thing she'd know about.
Oh, are you talking about me? Looking for me? If you're looking for the traveler, that's me. Looking for me, bitches? Oh, it actually looks nice, this thingy.
Oh, you're the traveler, you say?
Oh.
Hey, what's with that face? Don't believe us?
If you don't believe me, I'll go.
No, of course I believe you. Actually, I first heard about your great exploits when I was still in Inazuma. This is my first time coming face to face with you and your mysterious silver-haired companion. I couldn't believe my luck, and out of force of habit, I started, examining the evidence. Sorry.
So what, for the love of... Sorry, we don't get out much, so our social skills are kinda lacking.
Oh, we all are lacking all those.
Traveler, I hear you've helped many people a great deal and been to many places. Would you be able to tell us about Tatarasuna?
For a price.
Actually, we don't know much about that place either. In fact, we only came over here because we heard you talking about it and wanted to learn more.
I see.
Sorry, I can't help this time.
My teacher chose this area of research as a personal challenge. He said it's difficult to get into because even Inazumans don't know much about Tatarasuna's past. But who'd have thought that...
If you don't mind, I'd love to show you all my outline for the book I'm writing about Tatarasuna.
Hold on, Sawada. Don't you think that's a bit of a deep dive for a first read?
Well, fair point. In that case, please ease yourselves in gently by taking a look at Akaba's latest essay draft.
Let me give you some background. This all started with the discovery of some records in Tatarasuna. The writings mentioned someone by the name of Mikoshi Nagamasa, who crafted a fine blade. But in the end, he threw it into a fire to destroy it, and killed his servant Katsuragi.
What?
Why? Well, no one knows. Apart from the swordmaker, his servant, and the one who wrote this all down, the records also mention a kabuki mono. This seems to be an Inazuman word for an eccentric stranger, someone who dresses funny or acts in an unusual way.
Oh, Mr. Wanderer.
That's right. Akaba's teacher has spent quite some time researching these events on the ground. This Kabukimono lived in Tatarasuna for a while before disappearing without a trace. And shortly afterwards, as Akaba mentioned, things got pretty ugly.
So first this strange person goes missing, then a murder happens? Seems kind of fishy to Paimon.
What was the name of Wanderer?
Yes, my thoughts exactly. So I helped out too. I asked everyone I could think of if they knew anything about what happened back then. And wow! Did I get lucky!
Stop shouting!
Stop shouting you too, bitch.
This part's important. I just wanted to make it stand out. It just so happens that a friend of mine works at the government records office. He looked into it for me, and I can now confirm that all the aforementioned individuals did, in fact, live in Inazuma over 400 years ago.
Ooh.
Even back then, Tatarasuna was already at the center of Inazuma's smelting industry. The man in charge was a government official named Niwa. Curiously enough, it seems like he went missing too.
Could it be?
Wait, so there are two missing people in this story now?
Yes, Paimon.
That's right! What's more, Niwa is a name with a lot of history to it. Have you ever heard of the great swordsmith clans of Inazuma?
Oh, the swordsmiths? Yeah, like Ishin art and so on?
Wow, yes. You really know your stuff. That makes things easier. So basically, this Niwa was a distant relative of the Kaidahara clan, the last practitioners of Ishin art. Something then seems to have happened in the Kaidahara clan, leading to their downfall. I don't know the details, but taken in light of everything else going on around that time, it makes you wonder whether it's all connected somehow.
The Kaidahara clan?
Sawada, you left out the biggest detail of all.
There's more?
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Brace your minds, ladies and gents, for they are about to be blown. Or maybe you won't believe your ears. I wouldn't blame you, of course, because in all my years as a writer, this is by far the most.
Get to the point, for Pete's sake.
According to information acquired by Akaba's teacher, the Kabukimono was not a human, but a puppet.
Mr. Sucrose.
A puppet?
The Shogun puppet that the Electro Archon made should be ruling Inazuma with her as we speak. It couldn't be her. Oh, the Balladeer. He had another name, right? The Kabuki mono has to be the Balladeer, but what was he doing 400 years ago in Tatarasuna?
Aha! Judging by the looks on your faces, you do know something after all.
Hey, get out of here. This is my research now. Glare at Paimon and hope she keeps her mouth shut.
No! Paimon just meant, how creepy. The way you described it makes it sound like a ghost story.
Oh, you better, Paimon, you better.
I agree, it does. But considering that non-human races in Inazuma are by no means uncommon, spooky events are to be expected. And that's exactly what my book is about. Please, take a look.
The Isle of Darkening Clouds. Author Sawada. Extract 1. Oh, dude. A man arrived in Tatarasuna around 3 in the afternoon. From afar, he spied laborers walking along the mountain roads toward the factories, their shoes scuffing along the jutting stones. They walk like people convinced that so long as they reach the fire raging in the mountain's belly, they might extract from it gems beyond price. The mood that their sight inspired was ineffable, if on mere description for those not present to witness it. The man barked a cheerful greeting and sprinted to join the procession. There, a towering character, who stood half a head taller, greeted him with a heavy slap on the back, and yet his words were filled with respect. "Do my eyes deceive me? Sir Miyazaki, I cannot think that the return trip here from Inazuma City would have been any easy on you." Miyazaki smiled, like a young man taking the first steps on their journey. Expression relaxed. "Why, Katsuragi? Inazuma is the realm of the almighty Shogun. I sailed upon the fastest ship, strode upon the swiftest sea routes. What dangers could I have possibly faced? And what about the good news?" There was some. Naturally. The two burst into outrageous laughter, roughhousing with the other workers until the path's end. A young man, dressed in a linen shirt and wearing a headscarf, gazed into the dancing flames of the furnace before him. Now the flames of a forge are unlike any other, for their intensity affects the resulting integrity of both metal and blade. So too, then, was the flame watcher, an unusual individual, and his fingertips sat at his fingertips sat a lizard, and on his face he wore a smile. The workshop was huge, and the furnace was deeper within. A reasonable person might think that there should have been many working alongside the watcher. Yet he stood alone. Only when Katsuragi and Miyazaki strode into the room did the watcher turn. This watcher was Niwa, armory officer and administrator of Tatarasuna, born to the Niwa clan, which served as one of the three pillars of the Ishin art. Niwa never argued with his siblings and was a worthy successor of all accounts. The post he received as a result of his high standing with those in power served as a statement unto itself. Miyazaki handed a well-bundled text to Niwa. As he adjusted his expression, he said, "It is as you have said, sir. The elders of your clan in the city do not think highly of our plan. Yet I still believe it to be worth a try. As such, I have found the proper vendors and procured the materials that you requested." Niwa studied the text and nodded. We should try some of these new forging techniques, whether Kaedehara says yeah or nay. Katsuragi frowned, and with a sigh he said, forging is a precise and difficult undertaking. You know this better than most, sirs, and still you seek improvement each day with terrifying drive. Ah, should my lord Nagamasa hear this? The sourness in his face shall be hard to miss. Niwa smiled, replying, and how goes the forging of your lord's greater blade, Katsuragi? Katsuragi neither wanted to shame his master nor lie to his two friends, and yet he could not think of any way to deflect, and so groused, I see your ears are as keen as your hands, said Niwa. The jokes of us unlearned men are as nothing before you. Miyazaki hid his grin. Upon hearing this, Niwa released the lizard from his hand into Katsuragi's palm. But just as more words were to be exchanged, someone came walking nearby. Their footsteps light with the celebrity of youth. The head that peaked, it was not round and, in the light of the fires, looked like an oiled jewel. The young man placed some box food at the side, and nodding, he prepared to leave. Katsuragi called out after him, what about your share? Are you going to eat it? The young man, upon hearing these words, found himself slightly at a loss. After a while, he answered, very well, I will try it. You're welcome to the food. We all eat the same fare, after all, Niwa said. The man nodded and left, seemingly deep in thought. Track 2. The Kabukimono was by the coast. Sunset fell to the accompaniment of darkness. The bands of twilight. Dude, it's moving little by little down. Stop that. The bands of twilight showed themselves not, for in their place deep thunderclouds rolled, grumbling the omens of a coming rainstorm. Darkness filled the flesh of the sea, and the dust bathed the clouds to kneel upon the land, its supplication mirroring the Kabukimono, with knees bent and face pointed towards the waters. None passed that way, and none knew what he was waiting for in silence. Time passed, unmeasured and uncounted, until a black cloud suddenly tore free from the sky and began to circle the Kabukimono, bearing down on him like a nightmare. Though he was not aware at first, after his steady gaze was refined by time, he understood this cloud had marked him from the very start. Outbound, a fishing boat drew near, the lights of its bow flickering in and out of sight beneath falling sheets of rain. A mist unspools across the area, stealing sight from the fisherman. Repeatedly he exclaimed, it is but dusk. How are my eyes darkened? Is there anyone can deliver my boat upon safe tides? Like a falling spear, the black cloud reached the bottom of the boat and was joined in its bare fitness of direction. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline. Scant steps away, the Kabukimono stood idle, slanting his head to study the grand wreck. Not but half an arm was left of one who had cried out for help, oh dude! And with a plop, it landed at the Kabukimono's feet. He crouched to better study the object, straining against the urge to take a bite out of it. Yet he did not, for the dark cloud swirling down had already picked the remnants of the ship clean. The Kabukimono stared at it blankly, like an awakening dreamer. When he returned to himself, the clouds had scattered, as if they had never been there at all. As for the ship, could it have been struck down by a storm? Who was to know? No, the Kabukimono. Oh, then he was bad from the start. Stop! Katsuragi rushed to the doorway and shouted, my lord, things go ill at the furnace. I have searched for Sir Niwa, but there is no trace of him, and much time has passed since Sir Miyazaki left to seek aid, but he has yet to send any missive look. Mikoshi Nagasama turned slowly, his face grave as one attending a funeral. He spoke then. His sword heavily laden. I wish not to say such words, Katsuragi, but Sir Miyazaki may never return. Katsuragi peered past Nagasama's broad, stiff shoulders beyond the windows. The clouds above boiled in waves of black, as if darkness now was the only weather, and might even morph into an abyssal beast and devour Tatarasuna whole. Over 10 people had already perished. That's why. Katsuragi recalled as if struck. Yes, it was coming back to him now, in drips and drabs. That was why he had left to set out to seek aid. Miyazaki had been the first to set sail. The clouds had only just begun to form then. Traveling from Tatarasuna to Inazuma to ask for support was normally not great feat, and yet there had been no sign of his return. Then a second ship was sent, followed by a third and a fourth, till the Kabuki-mono himself had departed upon the tides. Under false skies and ominous fortunes, it had been Katsuragi who had brought him back and treated him as his own, and it pained him greatly to see the lad go. Yet the situation in Tatarasuna was severe. Even should they sacrifice more lives, it would have been worth it to gain assistance from Inazuma City. Niwa was gone, and no one could find him. Afterward, Nagasama led a search party into the mountains and the area around the furnace, all to no avail. Folk began to wonder if Niwa might have encountered an accident, but worry soon turned to suspicion, and they wondered if he had fled unwilling to bear the sign of having caused these incidents. The people grew even more suspicious, and Nagasama himself strained against his discontent and fury. His face had grown to resemble the crumbling clouds above. Suddenly, a figure flashed by. The presence did not go unnoticed by Nagamasa. He drew his blade and cut. He only nicked the silken veil of the intruder. The intruder wore. For a moment they swayed, and then, like a marionette pulled by strings, they moved behind Nagamasa, laughing darkly. Are you seeking someone, my lord? Niwa, perhaps. Nagamasa bellowed in fury. You dare address Sir Niwa directly? Yet the figure parted like mist before the falling blade, only to rematerialize beyond reach, but not beyond sight. A ghastly apparition indeed. Was it you who slew my people? Nagamasa howled and charged, held back only by Katsuragi's desperate grip. As his senses returned to him, he realized he was but an inch away from falling into the furnace. It seems that the rest of his work remains unfinished. From the existing text, however, it is apparent that this is a novel of fantastical, colorful sensibilities, born from an imagination well utilized.
Oh, and please read my essay draft as well.
Oh no! No, so much. A brief analysis of possible events of historical importance in the Tatarasuna area. Details. This text belongs to a series of works sponsored by the Humanas Bell Carrier Project. It has yet to be numbered. Author Akaba. Abstract. The Tatarasuna area has always been a major pillar of Inazuma's smiting industry. 2 incidents have occurred here, and the details behind the first are vague at best. I believe, however, that there might be a hidden story behind the events that transpired. Hence, this paper will attempt to analyze what may have unfolded from the available data. Glossary: Tatarasuna area, Raiden Gokaden, Mikoshi Nagamasa. Kabuki-mono. Introduction. This paper continues and expands the work of my mentor, Mr. Rumi, in his report on the happily hidden tales of Tatarasuna, and is intended to further this avenue of research. According to the data, the blade forging techniques of Inazuma were originally handed down from the Electro Archon, also known as the Raiden Shogun. Using the arts they inherited from the Archon, the people of Inazuma devoted themselves to the process of forging. However, strange rumors that do not quite fit the steel nature of metalwork yet linger about Tatarasuna, which was a central pillar of the forging industry. There, the Mikoshi and Iwa clans, along with an eccentric puppet, serve as the three windows of insight we need to investigate the truth behind what happened. Buried. Strange notes from the Tatarasuna area. The contents are as follows. 1. Perhaps I overstep, but I think that Sir Nigamasama mood grows better when he forges blade. The obsession to cleanse the stain of the name Mikoshi must eat at him. Also, Sir Katsuragi discovered a nameless eccentric while patrolling around Nasuchi Beach. 2. The inspector bought a certain number of jet steel ingots. Sir Katsuragi discussed matters of smiling deep into the night with the vice armory officer. 3. We at last made a single Nagamaki. We call it the Daitatara Nagamasa. The inspector was in high spirits, and he and the vice armory officer. Nozomu was so taken by the beauty of the Daitatara Nagamasa that he drew a picture of it, and he performed a sword dance with the one wavering eccentric. 4. And we could not find that eccentric. The inspector flew into a rage and slashed Katsuragi. The great blade cut deep into the flesh, cast his own Nagamaki into the furnace flame. Nozomu could not abide by that order, and drew the completely melted weapon out of the furnace. He was horribly burned. Oh, dude. Nozomu died that night. I dare say that while Sir Katsuragi may have committed malfeasance, he was out of the goodness of his heart. Kinjiro hid Nagamaki and Nozomu's drawing in the arsenal. What? We found something like that? Nagamasa is harsh, but also knows right from wrong. But even so, he's not an amenable person, amenable to reason. His name indicates one obsessed with purity. Still, I and some households of Tatarasuna have not been blinded by the matter of Nagamasa murder Chiyo, and we must trust him. I also remain unwilling to forget the joy of creating the Daitatara Nagamasa with him, and that joy of watching that nameless eccentric perform the sword dance with Katsuragi. 7. Before we withdrew, we should have divided the arsenal key into 3 parts, one for the inspector, one for the armory officer, and one to be left in Tatarasuna itself to prevent theft. But we were in too much of a hurry, and neither the inspector nor the armory officer could be found. So I was about to hide the 3 pieces within treasure chest in Tatarasuna. The 7 notes mentioned prior having scattered across the Tatarasuna area. Among the 7 notes, 6 seem to be of a good physical integrity, though they all look quite old, but the last one looks more recent. I believe that the first 6 notes and the last are of different time periods. Though the gulf in years between them needs to be verified, the contents of the first 6 should also be related to each other, as the incidents mentioned are quite consistent with one another. Rumi was mentioned in Happily Hidden Tales of Tatarasuna, hereafter known as Hidden Tales, that in the past, researchers from Sumeru had investigated the cultural stories of Tatarasuna and Inazuma. Though that place has fallen into some degree of disrepair since the Hidden Tales were written, things have improved since the time when I wrote my original article. Regardless, what used to be an area of major industry remains a place most inhospitable, and residents of Tatarasuna may be found living and dwelling by the waters. The residents, when questioned, told the researchers of Tatarasuna Golden Age centuries ago, when it was administered by the Armory Officer Niwa, Vice Armory Officer Miyazaki, and Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa. Yet the elders among the locals with deeper ties to the region also seemed to stress the fact that there were strange rumors surrounding their homeland's past. A great many of these rumors revolve around the yokai, who are also very characteristic of Inazuma folk histories. A small portion, however, repeatedly mention the word puppet. It should be known that puppets are neither traditional nor common yokai in Inazuma. This fact drew the attention of the researchers to dwell further, and eventually the following pieces of information came to light. A puppet did once appear in Tatarasuna. Its visage was elegant, its apparel impeccable, and the way it dressed hid all the joints lines in its body. If no one were to mention that it was indeed a puppet, it would be hard to tell at all. Additionally, this puppet seemed to possess special joint lines that would fade with time, potentially even disappearing altogether, which would perhaps eventually make the puppet seem entirely human. The name of the puppet was known to almost none. Some folk claimed to have spotted it appearing around Tatarasuna, while others mentioned encountering it in the central regions of the area. Some even claimed that it would frequent the beach, tales spread of it standing beside the sea and gazing across the waters towards Inazuma. What it was that puppet was gazing at remains a mystery. As mentioned earlier, the 6 notes all document a certain nameless eccentric. The eccentric, which can also be read as Kabukimono, is usually used in Inazuma to refer to a figure who dresses or behaves in a peculiar manner. It is understandable, therefore, why this character would have left such an impression. Should the people of Tatarasuna indeed have had a puppet in their midst occurring mass panic, a good possibility considering the coexistence between the yokai and humans in Inazuma are large, then the puppet would have very likely become a local resident. What is less well known is if the Kabukimono was just another title for this puppet, perhaps because it was uniquely dressed to distract attention from its more special characteristics. A workable theory, but one that still lacks enough evidence to support it. Still, it can be retained as an analytical lens of sorts. A list of individuals related to Tatarasuna has been compiled here based on historical documents from Inazuma. Starting from the administrators, the records are as follows. Armory Officer Niwa, full name Niwa Hisahide. He was the inheritor of the Ishin art and successor of the Niwa clan. His family, along with the Akame and Kaehara clans, were together known as the Ishin Sansaku. Records show that Niwa was a modest and intelligent individual who displayed the remarkable talent and the administration of territory and people. His eventual whereabouts are unknown, but he was suspected to have left Tatarasuna with his family following the incident. Vice Armory Officer Miyazaki, full name Miyazaki Kaneo. He was Niwa's second in command. His origins are unknown, and he primarily assisted Niwa in foraging and personnel management. He was of affable temperament and had many friends in the region, including one Mikoshi Nagamasa. Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa, the successor of the Mikoshi clan, adopted son to Oni warrior Mikoshi Chiyo, and the younger adopted brother to Mikoshi Michihiro, also known as Iwakura, the successor. With his mother missing and abandoned by his brother, Nagamasa alone bore the family's name, striving daily to wipe the shame from their history. Though records state that Mikoshi Nagamasa was a stubborn figure, he was also noted to be a person of moral virtue and integrity. It has been noted in various records that he practiced forging swords for self-cultivation, and especially requested special instruction from Miyazaki to further his capabilities. However, after the famous blade by Tatara Nagamasa was forged, he used it to slay his subordinate, Katsuragi, for reasons unknown at present. Subordinate Katsuragi. Katsuragi full name and background remain unknown. Despite all the materials I have sorted through, I have yet to find any more additional personal information regarding him. As one of Mikoshi Nagamasa's subordinates, he was a loyal warrior who had been saved by Nagamasa in his youth. From then on, he swore to stick by his lord through thick and thin, and to give his life in service if it was but asked of him. Kabuki Mono, full name unknown, background unknown. From many sources I have compiled combined with Rumi's personal observations, this character might have been the puppet mentioned in the rumors. The Kabuki Mono was a figure of fashionable grace and gentleness. According to the hidden tales, he was brought back to Tatarasuna by Katsuragi and became a member of the community. When the Kabuki Mono first arrived in Tatarasuna, he knew nothing of cleaning, cooking, for any work of meticulous nature. The locals taught him their skills over time, showing him how much to clean his attire, dance, and craft small trinkets. Records state that the kabukimono was there when the Daitatara Nagamasa was forged, though his trail ends before Mikoshi Nagamasa slew Katsuragi. I believe that the kabukimono was indeed the aforementioned puppet, and he quite likely had a hand in Katsuragi's death. It seems that the rest of this paper remains unfinished. One thing is for sure though, a lot of thought was put into it.
Sawada was encouraging me to follow his more creative approach, but I think essays should be grounded in facts. I don't think explaining everything away with mysterious forces will cut it. Oh, how about if I plug the holes in Sawada's narrative with political intrigue? Like, I could put a turf war between rival factions at the center of the whole series of events.
Wait, you're allowed to just make stuff up? Pretty sure you've gone from essay to guessay there.
Yeah, sounds more like a novel. Has this guy ever even written an essay before?
Akaba, look. Your teacher has researched this extensively. I've reached out to everyone I could think of. Whatever information we have now is all that there is to know. This is as much detail as you're ever going to get. Besides, if there really was a political power struggle going on at anything like the level you seem to be suggesting, what hope would we ever have of finding out the truth?
Good point. Okay, back to the drawing board, I guess. Give me some time. I need to find a new angle on this.
I will leave you to it.
We have some other stuff to do, so we'll have to say goodbye for now. Good luck with your essay!
All right, thank you. If you find out any more info about all this, please do let me know. Thanks so much.
Hey, so that thing they were talking about, it has to do with the balladeer, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, then even if we did know something about it, we probably couldn't share it with them, huh?
No.
After all, we kicked his butt and got him locked up. Information about people like that is usually super confidential, isn't it?
Yes.
If you ask Paimon, Akaba should just pick a different topic. There must be as many essay topics as there are trees in the forest. There's no point in...
What's wrong?
Hey, did you see that? He literally just went by, over there. It looked like... The balladeer! No, it can't have been. He got locked up. Oh, quick, let's catch up and see.
What's the name of him? Okay, maybe sadly I use another teleport. But hey. Scaramouche. Scaramouche, Scaramouche. Scaramouche. So that's it. The random quest ended up being the Scaramouche mission. I guess we I actually did a video of everything in the update. Well, maybe not everything, but I'll see you probably tomorrow for TCG Championship.
It's
Bye bye.